Working in Nepal, one of the main things I thought about constantly was the question, what is development? One of the first things you kind of think in answer to it is quite straightforward. It's working in schools, helping with teaching practice, helping children to improve their learning experience, sharing skills around specific roles. The real provocation comes to think when you think about the differences of perspective. At home, there seems to be a predominant value of making a profit, whereas in Nepal, people seem to be more focused on making a living. I remember seeing lots of rows of shops where there was 8 or 9 shops in a row, and you wonder how can they make a profit. You'd watch them, people would sit outside all day, not really do a lot, and a lot of customers would come in and just talk to each other. And it's not necessarily about making a profit, it's just about making enough to live off. This reminded me of living in Manchester. When you walk down the streets, you often see a lot of street corners where there used to be shops, but they've closed down. The profit-making ideal has put those out of business. In the past, they might also have just been about making a living. Another difference in perspective is the idea of reductionism or specialisation within the West versus an all-round knowledge in Nepal. I constantly thought if there was an apocalypse, people in the West would struggle to adapt to the situation, as they've all taken a job, focused on it, and built it up to a really high level and been productive, but they don't understand the other aspects of their lives. Whereas people in Nepal intermingle social and working life. They all have lots of vegetables and things grown into them. They all know how to cook specific foods that are all grown in the local area. And that brought me to another comparison. In the UK and the West, we seem to be in control of nature, trying to bend nature to our will. We can make nature fit our needs, whereas in Nepal, people seem to fit their needs around nature, not necessarily trying to work against it or change it, but doing things such as fit into the seasons when they grow all their food. I think that brings me to the real sort of value of development, which lies in these comparisons. As a volunteer, you're constantly challenged as to why you live your life as you do. You're surrounded by people who are thinking about all the little things you do and asking you questions about them. And you're surrounded by people who are different to you, and you're asking questions about them individually, but they're always focusing on you because you're so different whenever you're around. It's really interesting for them. So I think the consideration of how different things can be done in different ways is the real value of volunteering and development. And that, for me, was the answer I came to. What is development? It's an opportunity to offer the alternatives to both sides. You don't have to always do the things you've always done things. You can open up perspectives of different ways of living life and ways of being. And it shows they won't always work in the same way. You have to try things and fail them a few times, or try things and adapt to them. But it opens people's eyes to different aspects of doing things and different ways of looking at things. And I think that's the real value in development. I don't know if it's measurable, but it's definitely something you feel as a person when you're working in those situations.